Hey everybody, it's Brett. We're talking about tapping today. This is part 3 of our intro to tapping series. So today we're going to talk about some different patterns. Last week, last installment, last 2, we've been really focusing on that ascending pattern. And I mentioned briefly we could play it descendingly. Let's go ahead and walk through that real quick. So it's going to be a tap, a pull off to the middle note, and then a pull off to the low note. Remember to make your hammer-ons positive, adding energy into the string, not relying on some... We're not mushing the string into the fret, but we are... It's almost like think of it more as like you're tapping on the fretboard itself, and the string just happens to be in the way. All right, so there are more patterns than just up and down, right? So if we have 3 notes, we can do a few things with that. So for instance, we could go down and back up. So instead of being in triplets or sextuplets, these will be in 8ths or 16ths, dividing a beat into 2 or 4 parts. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and if I'm playing maybe 4 of these on each string, I should have maybe explained that before. I'm always counting the taps. So it's 1. Because there's no way you're counting all of those notes. So anyway, back to the this new pattern. So what I'm doing is I'm tapping, pulling off to the middle note, and then pulling off again to the low note, and then hammering back on, going back up. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, what are those? I guess that would be 30-second notes. So your pinky's kind of doing double duty with that pattern compared to the other ones. So it's a little tougher to sustain for a long period of time. You know, you'll see me from time to time just sort of stretching my hands out, doing some of this more kind of acrobatic guitar playing. But, you know, no big deal. You get used to it after a while. So let's look at maybe a couple other patterns. So I'm going to do 2 taps, and then we'll see some left hand stuff. We'll see what we can do there. So this is 2 taps with pull-offs to the middle note, and then pull off, hammer on, pull off, hammer on. Broke my pattern. So that's kind of cool. And that was just going back and forth between major and suspended second. So we've been looking at just 3 notes on a string. How many notes could we conceivably put on a string? Well, I've got 10 fingers and there's an open string. So I could conceivably, I could have 11 notes going on a string. No. I could maybe do 9. I don't know. Some guys can do that 8-finger tapping thing on one string. I'm okay at it, but I need something to keep the strings quiet. By the way, you should be resting your arm on any strings you're not using, because otherwise, especially if you have a lot of gain going, which I recommend, you have all these other strings ringing, and you have thicker strings that ring out. They have a lot of energy compared to what you're doing on a little skinny first string, for instance. All right, so let's look at maybe putting another note or two in there, just as examples, right? This is not a sum total of everything you can do with this technique. I mean, very obviously, but just some ideas, just some food for thought, some things to practice, and sort of get a feel for, while you're exploring things and trying new things and coming up with actual music, which we'll get into maybe in the next part. All right, so I'm going to add, we're going to go back to this major shape, and I'm going to add in the second, or what would be the ninth, which is the second, just one octave up. In general, if we have a root, a third, and a fifth, and a second in there, we would call that the ninth. So let's see what we can do. That's kind of a cool pattern that is still in time 1 E and a 2 E and a. So that's a hammer on, pull off to the low note, 2 hammers with the left hand, a tap, pull, pull off, pull off. Bonus points if it sounds good slow. Let's see what it sounds like at like Hall butt speed. Hall and Oates. Nope. I don't know about you personally, I'd rather listen to that particular one slow. I kind of started making it swing, so instead of da 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 da, making it go da 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 da. So already, just the ideas start flying. What's the rest of the band doing if I'm playing this? Could I make it stylistically sound like a certain kind of music rather than a bunch of robotic notes just being blasted off the listener? In rock. That can fly, right? We can get away with that in rock music. But if you're playing something else, if you're playing country, you're playing something with a little more swing to it, doesn't. You start rock shredding in those settings. If you're shredding, check your setting. It's horrible. But I guess all that to say, you can tailor this technique to different styles of music based on what you want to hear and what's really going to fit with the music. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Playing a million notes an hour is all fine and good. If the song sucks and nobody wants to hear what you're doing, it sucks. No matter how technically incredible it is. We've all encountered those players who can make a bunch of robot sounds and all this stuff, but you're not going to get in your car, fire up Spotify. You know what? I got an hour-long drive. I want to hear that one dude make a bunch of robotic bull crap with his guitar the whole way. I'm going to be in a great mood when I show up. No. That's another philosophical point to add. Techniques like this, they let us play a lot of notes really fast. We need to show some restraint. If you listen to Steve Vai, Jason Becker, Eddie Van Halen, they all use these kinds of techniques, but usually you don't listen to 5 minutes of this. I'm thinking of the Bad Horsey solo by Steve Vai off of Alien Love Secrets. That's Passion and Warfare, but that's Steve. It's tapping. Well, at least part of it is, but it changes and evolves, and he's not just hanging out on one pattern for very long. It's incredible. Yeah, I urge you, go listen to that song. It's just a great song all the way, and that's an example of someone playing guitar at a really high level, at a very high velocity, high note count. But man, is it cool to listen to. That whole album, Alien Love Secrets, just start to finish, is just beautiful. Passion and Warfare 2. If you haven't listened to Passion and Warfare by Steve Vai, stop everything you're doing before you take another breath. Go listen to Passion and Warfare. As a guitar player who's remotely interested in, the sort of upper echelon type playing, just go listen to it. Put on some headphones, turn off the screen, whatever you're looking at, and just listen to it. It's incredible. Anyway, as always, if you have any questions, drop me a comment, and catch you in the next one. See ya. Cheers.